The other day we were talking about which TV shows have gotten worse over the years, or have gotten better, or were always good, stayed that way. We haven't seen every single TV show, so this isn't a comprehensive countdown or anything. This is just some ideas we have, and they're not in any particular order, but some shows that we think stayed good are The Wire. That actually probably got better.
Yeah, it did, definitely. I got more into it with each season, but it's good till the last episode. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I wish they kept going, kind of.
Yeah.
What David Simon said he'd make another season if they ended the war on drugs.
Oh, right. When he got his Genius Award.
Yeah, that's just a great show. I really like the second season, even though it sort of doesn't really fit into the entire series quite as much as the other seasons. But the first season took me a while to get into, even though it's good when I look back on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, South Park. Some people say the show's gotten worse. I think it's
Still funny.
I think it's still funny. I think the peak was maybe like the 8th, 9th season. 6, I don't know, whatever, like 2003 to 2006 maybe. But that show has remained really, really great. They have a lot of crazy ideas, and Trey Parker is a really talented guy. His use of music in the show has always contributed a lot, so it's not surprising that he'd be a Tony Award-winning Broadway producer.
Yeah.
People say people say that South Park has gotten a little more computerized and things like that, but I mean, that's just how they can get it done. We watched that recently. We watched that making of South Park, and it shows how much pressure they're under each week to come up with new material.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Well, it was called like 6 Days to Air.
Yeah, they're airing it on Comedy Central right now. I don't know, you could probably find a torrent of it or streaming somewhere.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think this one, I think is one that gets better too. Although, I don't know, I really like all the seasons, but I've definitely gotten more into it. Maybe I've just gotten more into Larry's character, but the show always makes me laugh. And
he seems to have gained more confidence through the show, and I think that he might be happier now.
Now that he's divorced.
Yeah, maybe. But on the show and in real life.
Right.
But that's a great show, and I didn't like it at first. I remember Larry David, it started with a comedy special that he made on HBO, like, when I was in high school. I remember taping it because I was a Seinfeld fan, and then right when it ended, I just decided to tape over it because I didn't care. And then it became a show, it became Curb Your Enthusiasm, and my friend got into it, and at first it just was irritating to me, but over the years, I love that show. It's hilarious.
The Shield. That was a show that had me from the first episode. Like, we were talking about, Curb, maybe the first couple episodes weren't my favorites, but I think that the season premiere of The Shield was like a movie. I mean, a really good movie. I was so into it.
Yeah, and we're not usually into action, police things, like we're a lot of chasing. When I think about The Shield, I think about, what's his name, just like vaulting down the street.
Vic.
Yeah, like what Michael Chiklis.
Right.
But that show is really, really great, and it's not as good as The Wire, but we watched it because we were so into The Wire, and we missed it when it was over.
Something else.
Yeah, but anyway.
But it's really good. It's awesome, and it stays good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are, ups and downs.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was a lull for me in, the second or third. I don't remember, but then it got awesome again, so.
Most shows, I feel like the second season kind of falls to a sophomore
slump. Yeah.
Okay, so then a show that was always good and always bad is Oz. It's just the silliest show.
Yeah.
A show that got better would be Mr. Show. Oh, yeah. Well, whatever. But Mr. Show started with just Bob Odenkirk and David Cross writing all of the episodes themselves. And the first season was maybe like 6 episodes. And then throughout the 4 seasons, they accumulated a lot of writers, a lot of people that are really hilarious, like Dino Stamatopoulos, or however you say his name, and Brian Posehn, and the guy who plays the cop in all the movies.
Right, I was just thinking about him.
Yeah, I mean, they were sort of accumulated over the years, and Mr. Show did some crazy shit, and they're hilarious, and I mean, I don't think that David Cross or Bob Odenkirk have really, touched the 4th season of Mr. Show ever since. I mean, David Cross has done some funny stuff, like on Arrested Development and in his stand-up, but The fourth season of Mr. Show, the last season, is so damn good.
True Blood is one that you weren't so into, but I was into it. But then just recently, like I think this past season, you were like, "Hey, the show's good. It's awesome."
Yeah, True Blood's good, and I think it's because they adapt each season from a specific novel by the creator of the series. She's written a novel a year since maybe 2000, so they have a lot of material to work with. And they've added some characters, and I think they've done a good job. And sometimes the show can kind of veer into the soap opera stuff, but it's a really entertaining, funny show.
Right, and a lot is always happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama.
Right.
It's not
But not
boring.
Frustrating drama.
Right, it's not meet the parents, someone's framed or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's usually, it's good.
And it's not very predictable, I would say, this past season.
Right, and I used to hate Sookie. She really got on my nerves. She was just, I thought she had the worst attitude.
Or she was just bitchy about everything.
Right, but they kind of changed that, and I like the show much more.
She's a more likable character now.
I still don't like Tara, though.
Yeah, Tara's kind of annoying.
But anyway, she got shot in the head, so we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of hoped she died.
So, shows that got bad.
The Sopranos, which is an awesome show, but after Ralphie died, it just wasn't as good. It didn't have the same magic.
Yeah, the third season was great. Each episode's almost an individual movie. I learned a lot about storytelling just by watching the third season. The second season's sort of bad, but the first season's great too. And then the fourth season, when Ralphie died, it just kind of, the whole horse thing was cool. And then after that, kind of lost a major antagonist. And then the fifth and sixth seasons were really bad. And when Tony was in the hospital for a couple episodes, it was so stupid.
Right.
The show got good in the very last season again. But then
Part 2 of season 6 or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel like it kind of got back to that where it was before, but then the last episode was so bad. The whole episode was bad. It was all walking around talking. It was boring. Nothing was happening. A lot of these shows devolve into just characters talking in rooms because of budget concerns or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, The Simpsons. Something happened between season 7 and season 8.
But what? We don't know.
I don't know. Matt Groening decided to take the series in a different direction. I have no idea. Maybe they lost someone important. I mean, I know that a lot of the great comedy writers worked on The Simpsons. And if you watched Larry Sanders' show, which is another show that stayed good, it got better actually. And that show, Larry Sanders' show, had some great writers like Adam Resnick, Judd Apatow. It also had like John Vitti, who was a Simpson writer, and John Swartzwelder, I think, wrote a lot of Simpsons episodes and some of the best ones. And he remained on the series as a writer, but it wasn't. The Simpsons totally got silly, ridiculous, stupid. It wasn't funny. He tried to pack in too many jokes, a celebrity cameo in every episode. It totally lost its ability to juggle this intense, surreal humor with a good story about a family, and like the show just got stupid. I mean, the season 7 ended with the Homer Palooza episode, and then the one where they go up to the summer house and Lisa gets has the friends or whatever. And then the next season came back. I don't even remember. It was the one with like Homer gets the job in the Cypress Valley or whatever. That season just sucked, and after that it was just terrible. The show, I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
The next show, you didn't watch this.
No, I never saw it.
But the X-Files just got stupid. Once they were starting to reveal more of the mythology behind it, the movie, just the whole show is about the mystery of it, of the aliens, and like once they started giving it away, it was just ridiculous. It got more contrived too because they had to keep mystery by making it just really convoluted and impossible to understand, and it was just stupid. And then they lost the main characters. Toward the last 2 seasons, it wasn't even Mulder and Scully anymore. And a show has jumped the shark then. Jump the shark's kind of a stupid term. I think people throw it around like immediately when they see like a new season starts. All right, jump the shark. But sometimes it does happen. Another show you didn't watch, Sealab 2021. The first season's great. It's like, I don't normally like that humor. I don't like that Cartoon Network random silly shit. But Sealab 2021, the first season's really funny. And the second, every season since then has been just...
I've seen a couple episodes, and it was
probably
really boring.
Yeah, it's probably the later seasons. They're terrible.
The first season of Hung was really good. It was so funny. We loved the T-Brain character. I can't remember that actress's name, but she's very talented and very funny. And
She's in Happiness.
Yeah.
I forgot what her name is.
I can't. Oh wow. So she's good.
But Hung, the first season, was executive produced by Alexander Payne, who directed About Schmidt and Sideways. A great director, and I didn't want to I didn't know Hung was that Alexander Payne was involved in it, and it sounded just like any other show at first. And you started watching it, and I thought it was funny. I couldn't help but laugh.
Right,
and,
but then as soon as the second season started, and since then, it's just been bad. Ridiculous, stressful situations that he's always in, and we don't see as much of his relationship with Anne Heche's character, him with the kids as much, and it's just, and T-Brain's character totally changed. So.
She's not a T-Brain anymore.
Right.
She's more in control, so they don't really give that actress much to work with, and the show sucks.
Yeah.
But Alexander Payne left.
Oh.
So that could be the thing. I mean, he was still involved in the second season, which was bad, but he might have not been involved in it at all. The only time I ever saw him direct an episode was the pilot. But
which was good.
Which was good.
Yeah. Breaking Bad, that first season, I was really into. I loved it. And Walt's character was really complex, and the show wasn't predictable to me at all. And right after the plane crashed, I got less and less interested and involved in the stories, and it just became more far-fetched, and I don't know.
Just kind of more boring.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people sitting in rooms talking. Like I said, I mean,
Right.
I know that AMC puts a lot of pressure on their creators. Frank Darabont recently got fired from The Walking Dead for not agreeing to shoot half the show indoors. And Breaking Bad used to be them all around the desert.
Trailer.
Yeah, it was a great show where a lot was happening. But then the second season was just bland. And then
opposite.
And then it ended with that plane crash that a random... I don't know, that random events aren't really great plot devices, and it didn't really even do anything for the overall storyline.
Right, I thought that would come into play more.
The third season sort of, I don't know, it was good. I thought the third season was good, but then it could have been just because I watched it on Blu-ray. But this new season was silly to me. Wait, Gus took out the Mexican cartel? Really? Like one of those gangs? Those people are pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems silly to me. But anyway, and then the ending where Gus walks, I mean, that was kind of silly. Anyway,
watching it.
Yeah.
The Office used to be really funny. Obviously, Steve Carell is great in it, and Dwight and all that. I always thought that Pam and Jim were kind of annoying, but Jim's always giving some look to the camera like, I don't know, I don't like it. But so Angela and Dwight together, that was good. And then once she started dating Andy, it was like, okay, really? Everybody has to date each other? Angela and Andy, it doesn't even make sense. They needed them to keep dating each other, and they were running out of people. So just got bad after that.
Yeah, it got high ratings, and that was its problem, because then the network was like, okay, we need to appeal to every dumbass in America. Let's have everyone start dating each other so we can have that will they or won't they tension. And the show just turned into a stupid soap opera.
Yeah, it worked because Dwight and Angela were both really dorky and kind of mean, competitive. I don't know, but then Andy, it didn't seem like they would ever date.
It was just another hookup. It was like it jumped the shark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder why Steve Carell left. Twin Peaks was a show that was so damn good for the first season. It was maybe 8 episodes, and then about 5-7 episodes into the second season, once the murder of Laura Palmer was solved, David Lynch left the series. He came back for the very last episode, which was good, and the show kind of went right back to where it was before he left. But there are about 15 episodes in the second season that are so boring. It's not even like the same show.
Yeah.
Mark Frost was left with it, and he clearly wasn't the creative mind that David Lynch is. Anyway, same thing kind of happened with Ren and Stimpy. Nickelodeon fired John Kay. It was his show, and so, I mean, he did the voices even.
Why did they fire him?
Because he was too crazy for the network. I mean, he was making this really disgusting show for kids. And
I used to watch it.
well, the stupid thing is after they fired him, they tried to continue it with the disgusting stuff, but it was more like boogers, and it was just obvious.
Throw up.
John Kay was subversive, and it was just bizarre shit. I mean, that's what Nickelodeon didn't like. They didn't like the ideas, and there's a lot behind those early Ren and Stimpy cartoons. The end of the show is just stupid.
Yeah. And then Sex and the City, I used to really like the show, and although is it just the first season where there's the voiceover, is that just the first episode? But that I wasn't into.
I think the whole series had that voiceover.
Right.
The first season had like talking to the camera.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I didn't like that. But this show got really bad once Carrie and Aiden, once she cheated on him and they split up, and Miranda and Steve were like, it was like a similar situation, on again, off again. It just, there wasn't an interesting storyline there anymore with any of the characters, and the movies are awful. I mean, it's not even the same characters. It's not the people that you got to know on the series. It's just whatever works for the plot. And honestly, I don't know. There are a lot of Sex and the City fans that love the movies, but I think it's just nostalgia for the way the show used to be.
All right, so those are our TV shows. Like we said, we haven't seen everything, so let us know what you think. All right, thanks.